By now, you've heard about the law that passed in Texas that effectively bans killing babies after their 6th week of life in the womb. Naturally, Democrats have gone absolutely nuts over this, spewing all sorts of apocalyptic hair-on-fire rhetoric in their anguish over the idea that Texans disapprove of killing babies. I fervently hope that this overheated verbiage is starting to lose its potency. Kind of like the boy who cried wolf, it seems to me as if the left has a bag full of random red-hot words and phrases, and they just throw them wildly at anything that displeases them. And they hope it will stick, even if it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Like, for example, insulting black people by calling an ID requirement voter suppression or Jim Crow on steroids. Quite frankly, most black Americans, like any other American, are perfectly capable of obtaining an ID and even support having to show it to vote. But leave it to radical left Representative Cori Bush to take this to new levels of incomprehensible attitudes by tweeting, quote, "I'm thinking about the black, brown, low-income, queer, and young folks in Texas, the folks this abortion health care ban will disproportionately harm," end quote. I mean, wow, applying logic to that is like trying to untangle the world's biggest hairball. First of all, abortion isn't health care. It's the opposite of health care. It's killing a child in the womb. There's almost no circumstance in which abortion is considered a necessary procedure to protect a woman's health. Secondly, the way that black and brown people should disproportionately be affected by an abortion ban is that a lot more of them would be alive today. Since Roe v. Wade, more than 20 million black babies have been aborted. 20 million. That's more than the entire black U.S. population in 1960. Also, 79% of Planned Parenthood abortion clinics are located within walking distance of black or Latino neighborhoods. It shouldn't come as a surprise that Planned Parenthood was founded by Margaret Sanger, who was openly a racist eugenicist who believed that blacks were inferior and shouldn't be allowed to breed. Finally, queer people are certainly disproportionately affected by abortion laws, as in not affected at all. Is unplanned pregnancy really a big concern for same-sex couples? My 6th grade biology class tells me no. This just goes to show that the left has no intelligent arguments in favor of killing children in the womb, so they just reach into their bag of buzzwords and they throw out whatever they can grab in hopes that it'll fly by so fast that you won't even have time to think about it. Naturally, our good Catholic President Joe Biden announced that he was launching a whole-of-government effort to fight the new Texas law banning abortions of babies after they have a heartbeat. So he's literally enlisting all the powers of the federal government to go to war on babies with heartbeats. Meanwhile, we've got Americans stranded in Afghanistan that he won't lift a finger to help. I'm so glad that we have compassionate adults back in charge. The never-Trumpers are creating quite the legacy. When they lost this round in the Supreme Court, Democrats quickly dropped their gaslighting nonsense about birthing people and men having babies too, and they started couching the law not as a protection for unborn children, but as an attack on women's health care or women's rights. For your information, about half of all babies are girls, and they're getting aborted too. So I guess women only have rights if they're lucky enough to make it out of the womb. All the talk about women's rights is even more laughable when you consider it's coming from a man who just consigned an entire nation full of women and girls to barbaric subjugation, rape, forced marriages, sex slavery, and generally being treated worse than oxen, and they languish in Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Now, before you cut him any slack due to cognitive decline or the current chaotic conditions that he created, let me just remind you that according to Richard Holbrooke, which was President Obama's former special representative for Afghanistan and Pakistan, way back in 2010, Biden was advocating bugging out of Afghanistan and never mind the consequences. When Holbrooke brought up America's obligations to Afghans, like the girl in the Kabul school, Biden replied, "Forget that." Well, although he used a different F word that I wouldn't and couldn't use on here, he said, "Forget that. We don't have to worry about that." He had zero concern for the hideousness that might be inflicted upon the women and girls of Afghanistan. All he cared about was how it would affect his political fortunes. And if it didn't, forget him. Likewise, he doesn't care about the rights of women to feel secure in intimate spaces or to win sports scholarships, as long as he can pander to the deep pockets of the LGBTQ lobby. So when I see him tossing his alleged sacred religious beliefs overboard to pander to the no limits on abortion lobby, pardon me if I don't believe he's doing it because he just cares so very, very deeply about the rights of females. He accused the Texas law of unleashing unconstitutional chaos. Again, if he really believes what he's saying and opposes the unleashing of unconstitutional chaos, he ought to resign immediately. Now, while you're waiting for him to do that, why don't you consider subscribing to the channel and clicking the notification bell? And if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll leave a like as well as a comment. Also, join me this Friday for another live stream. And remember, if you want more takes that I have on the news of the day, you can simply sign up for my newsletter at MikeHuckabee.com. They'll be delivered to your email inbox twice a day, and it's all for free. That's it for this edition of The Breakdown. I'm Mike Huckabee.